back at the ranch. So here we have Romans 15. For whatsoever things are written aforetime were written for our learning, that we through patience and comfort of Scriptures might have hope. So these things are written for our learning. 1 Corinthians 10, verse 11. Now all these things happen unto them for ensamples. And I think that word ensample, I think the Greek word there might be tupos. Tupos. Or whenever you're taking a Greek word and going into English, a U becomes a Y. So instead, it would be the word tupos or typos, which is where we get typology or a typewriter, or this is a type of that, and so on. 2 Peter 2, turning the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah into ashes, condemned them with an overthrow, making them an ensample. I think the word there is tupos again. I may be wrong. Unto those that after should live ungodly. Colossians 2, verse 16, let no man therefore judge you in meat or in drink or in respect of an holy day or of the new moon or of the Sabbath days, which are a shadow, oh, I love that, of things to come, but the body is Christ. You know, I'm going to bring, I don't think I've ever talked about this before, but I think I'm going to now. When you're looking at the fourth dimension, and it's like what, when Paul was talking about in Ephesians, the length, the width, the breadth, and the height. The width, the width, the depth, the length, and the height. You got, four directions there. And that just blew me away because I was expecting there to be three. It's Ephesians 3:18. We may be able to comprehend with all saints what is the breadth and length and depth and height. So I did this study on the fourth dimension. I didn't know anything about it, and I looked it up online and learned what I could about it in simple terms. And I'm like, that's exactly what the Bible says. When you're looking at the fourth dimension, it's a dimension that is higher up than us. We cannot point to the direction that it is because we don't know. Okay? And one of the things that I learned that I thought was so awesome was that a three-dimensional object, or let me say it like this, a fourth dimensional object will cast a three-dimensional shadow. And when I pondered that and it hit me, I went, oh my goodness. And if you take it down one level, a three-dimensional object will leave a two-dimensional shadow. A shadow that has width and length, but no height nor depth. Doesn't have any of those. Okay? So there was a book that a guy was trying to explain the fourth dimension, and he called it Flatland. And it was about these creatures that lived in a two-dimensional world. Okay? And then all of a sudden, a three-dimensional object appears before them. Now, they can't see all the three dimensions. They can't see it. And so think about a dot on a piece of paper, and it can only see what is in its two-dimensional radius. Okay, it can only see what's around it in a perfectly flat circle. But if you take like this three-dimensional Bigfoot object and you put it right in front of the two-dimensional man, when the two-dimensional man sees this three-dimensional object, what does he see? He only sees the part of it that is in the two-dimensional plane. So can they see this Bigfoot as he really is? No, they can't. They can only see what passes through their two-dimensional world. Okay? Now, it's that way with us. Let me pull up Pure Bible Search software. And remember that a fourth dimensional object will cast a three-dimensional shadow. So if I type in the word shadow, and let's look, especially like in Hebrews, okay? Because in Hebrews, it'll blow your mind. Okay, like right here. Okay, well, here's one in Colossians I'll use. Let no man therefore judge you in meat or in drink or in respect of an holy day or of the new moon or of the Sabbath days, which are a shadow of things to come. Now that's very important, because things to come represent time in the future. We can't see that because we're bound by three-dimensional linear time. We can only see what is happening now. Okay? We can't see what will happen. Now, if we were to be raised up one dimension, we would be able to see in the future because we're higher up than our three-dimensional counterparts, okay? Which are a shadow of things to come. Then, look at this, Hebrews 8, talking about Moses and the gifts offered on the altar and so on. He says, verse 5, who serve unto the example and shadow of heavenly things, as Moses was admonished of God. So here we have all the angels of heaven, and they are the priesthood of heaven. These angel priests in heaven, and Christ is the high priest over all of them. They're all of the order of Melchizedek. And think about it. The earthly priests are from what tribe? Levi. Judah? No, not Judah. Who was first? Simeon, Reuben, Simeon, and Levi. Levi's the third born son, and it's from the tribe of Levi that the earthly priests are from. Number 3. But the order of Melchizedek, Christ, comes from number 4 tribe. Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah. That's why he's from Judah. Judah is number 4. And so Christ is from that higher order of angels. He's the high priest of the order of Melchizedek. So, who serve unto the example and shadow of heavenly things. So everything that goes on up here is shadowed here in our world. Doesn't that blow you away? There are people who will swear to you that we live in a matrix. You know how I know? Because I've seen the movie, The Matrix. Yeah. I've seen the movie, The Matrix, and I know I can prove that we live in a matrix. Yeah, this is not the real world. The real world is what's going on up there. Yeah. Okay, now, I'm not going to say we're living in a matrix. I'm saying that we literally are the three-dimensional shadow of a fourth-dimensional reality. That we are the shadow of heavenly things. Whoa, that's the wrong one. Where is the right one? Bam, bam, bam. Mind blown. Okay? So, okay. Think of it like this. Let's turn to 1 Peter chapter 2. Now think Bible, okay? Think of what I just said. One of these days, you and I, hopefully, we're going to get rid of this body, and we're going to get a new body, and we're going to get a new purpose. We're going to be what God says we're going to be. And so in 1 Peter, he says, "Wherefore, laying aside all malice, and all guile, and hypocrisies, and envies, and all evil speakings, as newborn babes, desire the sincere milk of the word, that ye may grow thereby, if so be you have tasted that the Lord is gracious." I've tasted that. He is gracious. "To whom coming as unto a living stone, disallowed indeed of men, but chosen of God and precious. Ye also, as lively stones, are built up," what kind of house? A spiritual house. Now, everybody that you know that has ever read the Bible and read this phrase here, almost without fail will say, well, that has a spiritual meaning to it, which means what they're trying to say is it happens only in my mind. That's a spiritual house, okay? Or that has a spiritual meaning to it. But as far as being real, they wouldn't believe that. A spiritual house, a holy priesthood, and what do the priests do? Did all the Levite priests sit around and read magazines all day long and come up with crazy Yiddish words? And no. The Levite tribe, 3-dimension, was busy killing beasts. What does a fourth-dimensional spiritual priesthood do? We kill spiritual beasts. Devils. That's what we'll do. We're going to kill devils. We will be the real, and all the Levite priests that you see in the Old Testament, they are the shadow. And only the shadow, but not the real. And see, everybody, they have it wrong in their head. They say that the spiritual meaning of something is the one that I came up with in my head, but it's not real. But from what I see, when those of us who are caught up to be with Jesus and we're transformed, we have this new body, and we are part of that priesthood, we're going to be doing spiritual sacrifices. Meaning, it says, and holy priesthood, to offer up spiritual sacrifices acceptable to God by Jesus Christ. So we're going to be offering up what? Spirits. Beast spirits is what we're going to be. No matrix. We're not living in some computer-generated world. Again, that's you got to be careful when it comes to that stuff. The two guys that came up with the Matrix, the Wachowski brothers, they're no longer the Wachowski brothers. They are the Wachowski sisters. I kid you not. First it was one that trannied himself, and then it was the other one that trannied himself. And I'm like, they were not twins. They were just brothers. So what's up with that? Well, I don't know. If I were to theorize on it, I would say there's no doubt in my mind that the Wachowski brothers, throughout their lifetime, from the time they could start reading until they started production on The Matrix, those guys read all kinds of wacky books. Probably filled their minds with anime and what else? Probably all kinds of Greek philosophers and weird stuff. Okay? They just filled their minds with that. And I think those guys had a spirit on them. I think it was a spirit of Antichrist. And lo and behold, they got the faces of men and the hair of women. Ugh. Anyway, now let's get back to this rapture here. We only got about 5 minutes or so. But anyway, that's typology, all right? And I like this Colossians 2. Because when it comes to the Hebrew roots people, they will condemn the daylights out of you. Because you do the pagan feast of Easter while we do Passover. No, you don't do Passover. You don't do Passover like the Bible says. So they brag on keeping the law, which they don't really keep the law. Let no man therefore judge you in meat or drink, or in respect of an holy day, or in the new moon, or of the Sabbath days. So all that stuff that people come against you on social media, Facebook and whatnot, just give them that verse. Colossians 2, 16 and 17. and which are a shadow of things to come, but the body is of Christ. You say, I'm sorry, but we're just living in the shadow of the real thing, and that real thing is Jesus Christ. So Hebrews 10, for the law having a shadow of good things to come and not the very image of the things, can never with those sacrifices which they offered year by year continually make the comers thereunto perfect. And this is where I would absolutely deny the doctrine of John Hagee, who believed that the Jews are going to be restored and they're going to be saved because they killed all the little animals. And I'm sorry, but God is not going to accept that as a valid sacrifice. He only accepts one sacrifice, and that is the bloody sacrifice of Jesus Christ. And I can't go along with that. Not at all. Oh, listen, I'm going to give you this, and we're almost out of time. But in Exodus 19 is one of the first places that we find the trumpet being blown. And I love this. God tells them now in Exodus 19, there shall not an hand touch it, but he shall surely be stoned or shot through, whether it be beast or man. Beast? Think about it. A beast. Or man, it shall not live. When the trumpet soundeth long, they shall come up to the mount. They just couldn't come on the mount. Now, here's what I get from this. This is a clue. I believe the beast will try to ascend up to heaven to sit on God's throne. Bum, bum. Because we're told here, I don't care if it's a man or a beast. Either one, I'll kill him. So in verse 16, and it came to pass on the third day. A day with the Lord is as 1,000 years, and 1,000 years as a day. So think about that. We have been one day, 2 days since the Lord left this world. Okay? We've been almost 2,000 years since the Lord left this earth. He's coming back, people. At the sound of the trumpet, he's coming back. And it came to pass on the third day in the morning. Why do things happen early in the morning? Because the day with the Lord is as 1,000 years. And that third day begins the 1,000 year millennial reign of Christ. And so the Bible could say, and it came to pass on the third day at noon, or in the third hour, or the 6th hour, or whatever. It could have told you something like that. Then you would expect it like halfway through. But no, it doesn't say that. It says in the morning, that there were thunders and lightnings and very, very frightenings. That there were thunders and lightnings and a thick, look at that, cloud. When Jesus comes, how's he coming? Clothed with a cloud. Upon the mount, and the voice of the trumpet exceeding loud. I like that word, exceeding. You know what that means? That the trumpet exceeded loud. Whatever loud is, the trumpet was louder than that because it exceeded loud. Exceeding loud, so that all the people that was in the camp trembled. And Moses brought forth the people out of the camp to meet with God. Moses here is replaced by Jesus Christ. And Moses brought forth the people out of the camp to meet with God, and they stood at the nether part of the mount. Ooh, man. My question to you is, are you going to be on that mount? Are you going to be standing there waiting for Jesus to say, come on, it's time, come on. Now's your time, let's all go. Or are you so wrapped up in this world that you're going to miss it? I hope that's not the case. I hope it's not.